Hey guys, Michael the DC Multiverse Collector here, really excited to be bringing you this review of the McFarlane Collector Edition Gold Label DC Multiverse Jonah Hex and General 2-pack. Now, first, got to get this out of the way. Big thank you to Head Start Toys and McFarlane Toys for providing me with this sample for review. Now, if you're looking to get this locally, either in Australia, go to any one of your local independent online retailers. There are so many awesome ones. My favourite is Green Rock Comic Shop, free shipping over $100, great customer service. Speak to George, tell him DC Multiverse Collector sent you. Anyway, this set is really cool looking. I've just got to say it up front and let my bias show. I think this looks awesome, and I haven't really, played with it, touched it yet, but I'm pumped. You'll see it's a gold label. I think in the United States, it's a McFarlane Toy Store exclusive. That might be why. It's a collector edition. Jonah Hex, the General. There's a platinum version that comes with a white horse and a slightly different outfit for Jonah. This is the regular edition. I think it looks great. And right off the bat, what's exciting me about this set is just, it's pretty obvious if you've been paying attention. Guns are back. You will see we have a shotgun. Or is that actually just... No, it's a rifle. Pardon me, it's a rifle, 2 revolvers, awesome holsters, an exciting array of accessories. Now, if you've been following the DC Multiverse line along with the rest of us for all these years, you'll know that Warner Brothers put in a licensing restriction that prevented McFarlane from including guns with characters who should have guns. And somehow, some way or another, guns are back. I'm not sure if this has been classified as, a collector's item rather than an action figure, or whatever sort of legal chicanery has taken place to allow this to happen, but thank God, because finally I can look at a box set like this with a cowboy and say, yep, McFarlane, it's a complete product. You've given me a complete product with everything I need to have fun, display, pose, take photos. Got 3 guns. 3 guns in a DC Multiverse set. It's a big day, and it seems trivial and it seems silly, but for so long, collectors of this line have had to make do. We've had to, buy weapons packs and give characters guns from other lines, and, finally, we're back to business and no more mucking around. So I hope this is an augur of things to come. I hope that this is just the first in a long line of characters that get the guns they need. Taking a look at the side of the box, you will see that this is Jonah Hex and the General from All Star Western. Now, my understanding is that All Star Western is a New 52 book. It's a long-standing book that's been collected in a few different volumes over the years. The latest one was in the New 52 featuring Jonah Hex. So this is a New 52 Jonah Hex. The other interesting thing is you'll see this is number 1. Now, the collector edition line is typically numbered, and in the main line, they've been numbered from 1 to 15 or whatever it is now. This is starting again at 1. Is that because this is a 2-pack and we're going to get more 2-packs, and this sort of 2-pack collector edition line is going to be like a separate collector edition? Let me know what you think in the comments about why this would be number 1. Curious to me. And here on the back you will see we have this tremendous artwork of Jonah Hex on the General. Here the General is white. You see the beautiful scarred face. This is just a gorgeous piece of artwork. Doesn't really resemble the figure in the box, but who can really quibble when the artwork is so gorgeous? Alright, without any further ado, let's get this figure open. Before we do, can you please like this video in advance if you like what you're hearing so far, or wait to the end if you prefer, but better do it now. And please subscribe. So many of you watch and don't subscribe, and that's fair enough. You can do what you want, but it really means a lot to me when you do subscribe. And if you can hit the notification bell once you subscribe, so that when new videos go live, you get notified rather than trusting the algorithm. And I don't trust the algorithm to surface my content for you. So please help me out, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you haven't. And anyway, without any further ado, let's take a look at Jonah Hex and the General. Okay, so here are all the accessories that we get in the box laid out on the table. I've set aside the General, I've set aside Jonah Hex because, frankly, there's just too much to fit in the frame to have them in here too. So I think it's fair to say this is probably the best spread of accessories I've seen in a McFarlane figure all year, and we've had some really good accessories this year. Lots of alternate heads, lots of alternate hands. We've seen a real stepping up of the quality and amount and type of accessories, and while we don't get any alternate hands or alternate heads in this particular set, I think from the sort of other standpoint of weapons and you know, that sort of thing. I think this is ultimately the best set of accessories we've got. Your mileage may vary, but let's get into it. I mean, starting with the boring stuff, we get the display base. You'll see it's the collector edition display base with the logo printed on it. Thin, basic, boring. Always glad to get one though. We also get the collector card with that fantastic art, the silver foil lettering, and on the back we have the data file for Jonah Hex. You can pause and read about that when you want. I think this describes the All-Star Western storyline. You will see we also get weapons, but before we get to those, let's get to these. This is the holster that I removed from Jonah Hex prior to this sort of review. This just clips around his waist with this little buckle here that pegs in quite nicely, and you'll see there is ample room for the 2 revolvers, which we will get to. We also get these straps, again, which I took off Jonah Hex, so you can see this wraps around his waist. It's got that really nice buckle there, some really nice sculpted leather look here. It looks really, really great, and you'll see there's enough room here for his sword, for his axe, for his knife. Just really, really nice stuff, and really nice that you can take this off and add it and remove it and sort of customize how you want your Jonah Hex to look. We get the rifle. Now this is really, really nice. It's got a beautiful sculpt with wood grain there. The silver paint looks really good. It's not flimsy, it's quite firm, which I like. Good sculpted detail. You know, not the greatest thing ever, but you know, damn well good enough, and I think that's really, really nice. Great to have a gun again. I hate guns in real life, I detest them, but with my toys, I love them. He also gets this sword. Now, what do you call like a cowboy sword? Is it a rapier? Is it just a cutlass? Is it a sword? What is it? For those of you who know, let me know in the comments, what's a cowboy sword? I would say a cutlass, but whatever it is, really, really nice sculpting around the handle, the handguard. It's got a nice shape to it, silver paint. Again, not too flimsy, but it's not going to poke your eye out either, so that's really nice to get. We also get my favorite accessory, the twin revolvers. Now, this is the sort of thing that we've just been missing, you know, the crucial weapons that sort of complete a character's look. This is it, you know. Jonah Hex with his 2 guns, amazing. Great sculpt. I think it might be similar to the sculpt we've got in the accessory, one of the deluxe accessory packs in the past. Let me know in the comments if that's the case, but whatever, it's a great sculpt. I like the tan handle, I like the silver paint. Great, excellent. We also get 2 additional sort of melee weapons. We get an axe, which again, great sculpting, that wood grain, great paint with the silver, firm, high quality, really good, and we get a knife. Now this is a white handle, which is kind of interesting, and there's some very nasty paint slop on mine. You'll see on that side, just looks very unfortunate, but if that's in the figure's hand, you won't notice it. The blade is nicely sculpted, nicely painted, so yeah, really, really great spread. You can easily, without any trouble at all, pop the revolvers in the holster. So there you go. And with this one here, let's see if I can make it work for me. You can shove the cowboy sword. Is it a cowboy sword? What do you call it? Cutlass there. Shove his knife there. And the axe will go in there. So you can, you know, really just load up your Jonah Hex as much as you like with whatever accessories you like. Let's have a look at the figures. Okay, so here we have Jonah Hex and the General side by side. I'm going to take a look at these figures separately, but I thought I'd just give you one quick shot here so you can see how they fit in relation to each other in terms of scale, and I think they scale very, very nicely. Let's get Jonah Hex out of the way and let's have a look at the General first, because there's a lot of nice stuff to look at here. Now, as far as I can tell, this General, who I sort of am struggling to pose in a, in a naturalistic way, this horse looks very stiff. I'd need to fiddle around with the legs to strike something a bit more natural, but what strikes me is that this is, I think, largely reuse from the Dark Knight Returns Build-A-Figure Wave horse. That's the black horse that you could pose Batman on. I'm pretty sure that most of this is the exact same sculpt as that big Build-A-Figure. However, the headpiece and the mane seem to be unique, and it's got like a unique mane. I was going to say hairstyle, but horses don't really have hairstyles, do they? They have manes. This is a unique mane and a unique head compared to that horse. The basic sculpt of the face might be the same, I'm not sure, but I don't think so. I think this is all unique from sort of up here. I believe the tail is the same as the Dark Knight Builder figure, and so is the core body, which is now in this beautiful dark brown instead of the black. And I think it's just a really nice looking horse. Really, really good stuff. Tell me, if you've got the Witcher Roach figure, is this just the same as Roach? Let me know. I haven't got that figure. I'm not really familiar with it, but let me know in the comments. This might just be Roach repainted, but whatever it is, I think it's a really fine looking horse overall, and it's got all this gorgeous sort of saddle stuff on top. Yeah, the saddle, the stirrups have got silver paint on them. Look at this weathering. It really looks like leather. Stitches. Looks great. The bag here, there's not much paint on the bag, but it's sculpted beautifully. What's this thing here where you tie the horse up to? Look at that. It's got all that beautiful like weathering on it. It's just great stuff. Even the reins, you know, they're not just solid plastic. It's like sculpted. It's just not smooth. You see, it's got all that granular detail. Have a look at the general's face. I really like that touch of the lighter color paint here, just to make his snout a little bit lighter. The eyes have a lot of life. You see they've painted the shining in the eyes, the reflection, gives it a lot of life, I think, which I really like. And obviously the mane is beautifully sculpted. Not much paint there, but that's okay. Again, all this sculpted detail, the pack on the back, beautiful, beautiful stuff. Might be a light wash there, I can't really tell. It's subtle, but it's gorgeous. You see the tail is just on like a ball joint. It's nicely sculpted, not much paint, and it's just this big heavy sort of tail piece. That's fine. The body of the horse is very smooth. There's not a lot of like fur sculpted into it or anything, but I think it looks really, really fine. I've got to say, really, really fine. I'm just blown away by the level of detail up here. Like, it's really intense. And you'll see that carries through to the other side as well. Just all these straps, all these buckles, just gorgeously sculpted. Really impressive stuff. And yeah, just really big fan of what they're doing here. You'll see it's got like a little, I don't know what you call it, a holster here. You can shove the rifle in there. That's great. I love that. And yeah, it's a great accessory. Is this accessory? I mean, it's really another figure, but whatever it is, it's a great vehicle, a great mount. I just think it's tremendous. In terms of articulation, you know, you got the back and forth here. You got the knees. There's a swivel here at the ankle and at the foot. It's all a bit awkward, I've got to say. It's all sort of ratcheted and stiff, which is what you need to support the weight of this thing, but it's all a little bit awkward, and I can't get this guy to stand all that naturally. It's going to take some work and some patience. Legs go forward, like that. Yep. Oh, you can push it up a bit further. Yep. You can do some really nice stuff. You know, for those of you who sort of know how horses stand, I guess, you could do some cool stuff. I'm struggling to get this guy to do anything naturalistic, but it's just going to take time, right? And I think the fundamentals are here to have a really good looking horse. Yeah, and worth pointing out, his neck goes down that far, so you can have the horse like, you know, drinking or whatever. You can tilt his head left and right just a little bit, so there's not a huge amount going on. Yeah, so you can go up and down and sort of a little bit left and right, and you can tilt the head down. So you can have him like that, like that, like that, like that. So, you know, you can do a few things to give the head some expression and give the general some expression, I guess. The tail, you know, yeah. Like, I don't know. For a horse that comes packed in with a figure, I don't know that you could do too much better. In terms of sculpt, paint, accessories, yeah, I don't see how you do better than this. This is a great figure, and I'll show you. Let's see if I can get Jonah Hex sitting on the general in live environment. Look, yeah, I would need to finesse this a little, but you can see he looks really great atop the general. Imagine if I actually took the time to pose him properly and put the feet in the stirrups. Would look really, really good. But there you have it. There is the general. Let's take a look at Jonah Hex. Alright, here is the main man, Jonah Hex himself. You'll see I've removed all his holsters and everything, and I've just got the figure standing here in his cloth goods trench coat, which is kind of a duster jacket, whatever you want to call it, which I think is a really, really nice look, and I love the fact that McFarlane's experimenting with cloth goods. First impression of this figure is that there's just so much new about him. Like, obviously the head is unique, but those, you know, those jeans, they are a unique sculpt. We've not seen that before. The boots are unique. The shirt is unique. It's you know, the duster jacket we've not had before. This is a top to bottom new sculpt, which it's sad to say, but you know, we don't get that often in McFarlane these days, particularly even in the collector edition line, you know. So new sculpt, really exciting, and I can already tell I'm impressed by the level of like sculpted detail. No one says sculpt like that, but anyway. But I can tell already I'm really excited by the level of sculpted detail and also paint. There's some really great paint going on. We'll get in for a closer look in a second. Let's start off with just looking at this duster jacket. It's this really soft, pliable fabric, which is nice. It sits on the figure quite well. But like with all cloth goods, even the thin cloth goods, it does bunch up around the arms, and it always looks like, I don't know, they're wearing like a robe or something. It's a little bit clumsy looking, but would it have been better to do a sculpted jacket? I don't think so. I think this will work better if you're posing this figure on the general. It's going to flow better, it's going to sit more naturally, and overall it just leads for more dynamic poses. What it does lose though is, yeah, the shape in the arms and like the collar. You can't really flip the collar up to look cool. Like, this is all shapeless, and so you're just going to have to fiddle around until you can make it look kind of how you want it to look. And you know, a little bit of it's again, it's just going to take a little bit of finessing, right, to make it look good. It's not going to immediately look great. You kind of have to fiddle around with it, which I'm not going to do live here. You'll see those inner seams here where they've stitched it together. Looks really awkward, and when that's showing, it looks a little bit ugly. So you kind of just want to hide that, I guess. I don't know how you do it, but you know, pose it like that. Like, that looks pretty cool. Like, you can get him in some really cool looks with this duster jacket. So yeah, that's really cool. I'm going to whip it off so you can actually see the figure and the articulation in a bit more detail. Alrighty, here is our man Jonah Hex without his duster jacket, and you know, it's a really cool figure. It's all unique sculpt, which I love, and when you get the coat off or the jacket off, you can kind of just see how much unique stuff is going on here, and I generally like what I see. I think the first thing that struck me, I guess, is just how strange the shoulders are cut. It's cut really narrowly at the shoulders, and then you have this massive butterfly filler piece, and then the arm piece, which kind of, I get why they've kind of done it. I think that makes the coat go on a little bit easier as well. He looks just a little bit skinny at the torso, like he doesn't quite taper into a V shape. His waist and his like upper neck are like the same, or his chest, I feel like they're the same width. So I just feel like he just needs a little bit more of a chest, I guess. But other than that, like, it looks really cool. Like, look at those buttons, sculpted buttons. There is a whitewash applied to this really bone-colored plastic. So it's a really beautiful bone-colored plastic. It's like quite rustic looking. It's not white, it's not plain. It's, yeah, kind of a ceramic bone color with some paint applied, like a bit of, maybe it's dry brushing, I don't know, but it looks really, really great in hand. It's hard to convey on camera under my crappy lights, but yeah, really good stuff. I like the buckle here on the belt, looks really, really good and clean. And these jeans, you know, they are sculpted denim, and it just looks great. It just looks so great, guys. Really nice in hand, beautifully detailed. I really love all the wrinkles, and look at this, there's a wash applied. Maybe it's a bit of dry brushing, hard to tell, but it gives that impression of like dirty denim. And these boots, beautifully sculpted. His diaper piece is weird, like he's got no ass, and I don't necessarily need my Jonah Hex to have like a great ass, but don't you reckon he kind of looks a bit dumpy? Like, you know, he's a cowboy. He would have like a great set of buns, and here this is just a big flat lump. Like, where is the sculpted butt? Anyway, that might just be me freaking out about Jonah Hex's butt. And let's have a look at this head sculpt, guys. Beautiful, beautiful hat. Nicely sculpted. Great detail all round. And the face is just gnarly with that Jonah Hex scarred face. Really nice paintwork. Really nice sculpt. The expression's okay. It's very neutral. But I think that's probably a good one. If you're only going to get one head sculpt, I think this is a good one to get. He looks awesome. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you like the look of this guy? I think he looks great. Let's have a look at articulation. You can do everything you want at the arms. Double jointed. The wrists are on a ball joint, so they'll rotate, they'll tilt. That's nice. He only comes with these trigger fingers, which I think is fine because that's all he's really going to be doing, holding guns and swords. At the waist, and at the diaphragm, 360 degrees, that much, and rotates at the waist as well, no problems. Head goes around, 360, can look down really nicely, look up really nicely, and you get the side-to-side head tilt, so beautiful stuff on the ball joint there, absolutely no problems. Splits, which is great because he's got to ride the horse. He has a thigh cut, so he can ride the general properly, and it's a really nice cut, like you can barely see it. See how tight that is? Does not look terrible like some of those Marvel Legends thigh cuts that are really obvious. That's really nice work. Double jointed knees, pretty good. No boot swivel, so worth noting, that's all static, but I think that's okay. Can kick up 90 degrees very, very easily. Can even kick backwards, which is nice. And at the boot, they're on a ball joint. They can't do that much just because of the way the boot's sculpted over the ball joint, but there is a rocker there and you get the toe articulation. So like, yep, this is a really nicely articulated figure, guys. This is good stuff. This is really good stuff. This is top 10 of the year stuff, in my opinion, but we'll see how it shakes out. So that is Jonah Hex, and he is awesome. And before we move on to comparisons, I thought it might just be worth showing you what it looks like with some of his accessories incorporated onto the figure. I've left the duster jacket off because it's just easier to show off what I'm talking about, but here you can see we've got that sort of holster set up there. You see I've got the knife in one, the axe there, the cowboy sword, whatever you want to call it, in the back there. You see he holds the revolvers beautifully with the trigger finger in the trigger thing, which looks really good. Yeah, and you can see he can hold the rifle really nicely. And of course, if you wanted to just put the revolvers around his waist, you could do that with the holsters there. So that's just so many options with this figure and how you can display him. You can have him with his coat off, his coat on. Really, really awesome stuff. So that is Jonah Hex, fully loaded up with all his accessories, and what an impressive sight it is. For our first comparison, here we have Jonah Hex alongside the NECA feral predator from the movie Prey. I just did this because frankly I would love to see Jonah Hex take on a predator, and this seems like the most appropriate predator for him to take on in terms of time period. It's probably the closest. Yeah, cowboy versus predator. When is that going to happen? When can we get that? Samurai versus predator. Anyway, I could fanboy on about predator matchups all day long, but yeah, Jonah Hex, feral predator, if that's something you want to do, I think it'd look pretty damn cool. Next, we have Jonah Hex alongside Booster Gold, who in the All-Star Western comics, I believe, is involved in some time travel shenanigans that brings Jonah Hex into continuity. Correct me if I'm wrong, someone explained that to me in the comments, but there you see how Booster Gold and Jonah Hex, very different sort of design philosophy. Booster Gold is very clean, modern, sleek, simple, classic, and Jonah Hex is covered head to toe in detail, but still they can get along side by side. And there you have John Constantine on the right, another character who Jonah Hex comes across in All-Star Western, and I think they're both very similar figures in terms of their approach to like sculpted detail, and they're both wearing duster jackets, of course, and you can see the difference in approach. Constantine's jacket is really beautifully sculpted, but it's very, very stiff. And obviously Jonah Hex's is more fluid, but doesn't quite have that same look to it, particularly around the collar. You can see how the cloth goods duster jacket doesn't quite give you that same awesome like sculpted look around the collar. I do wish there was a way they could combine like a stiff sculpted collar with soft goods sort of around the back, maybe to give it some flow. Let me know what you think. Do you think such a thing, a hybrid approach, is possible? I would really love to see a best of both worlds approach. But anyway, that's just me. And for my final comparison, we have Marvel Legends Thanos and Marvel Legends Cable. Anyone in the comments would love to explain to me why I chose these three in a lineup? Let me know. If you can guess it, then you get an internet cookie. So if you haven't figured it out, guys, I am a massive fan of this 2-pack of Jonah Hex and the General. I think it's one of the best McFarlane releases of the year. It's certainly the most complete in terms of everything you could want for a Jonah Hex figure. It's got the cloth goods jacket. It's got the horse fully loaded up with awesome, awesome detail. It's got the accessories, the guns, the rifles, the blades, the melee weapons, the holster blasters. It's just an awesome overall package, packed with detail, new sculpt, great paint. There's really nothing wanting here, nothing more I could complain about. One alternate head would have been nice, but I'm nitpicking. This is a top quality release. If you love Jonah Hex at all, you need to buy this. So that's my recommendation, get it. If this video has been helpful, entertaining, or informative, why not give it a like? And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. In the meantime, guys, thanks so much for watching, and happy collecting.